Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. I accept this award on behalf of a civil rights movement which is moving with determination.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an educated reverend and the president of SCLC, an African-American organization which played a significant role in the civil rights movement. With determination and ingenuity, King led powerful protests and marches in order to achieve peace and equality at a time of racial injustice and discrimination.
That was the day that we started a bus protest which literally electrified the nation. And that was the day when we decided that we were not going to take segregated buses any longer. And you know, when we planned the bus boycott, we said if we could just get about 50 or 60% of the Negroes of Montgomery not to ride buses, this would be an effective boycott. Until we are able to make this kind of witness in this city so that the power structure downtown will have to say, we can't stop this movement, and the only way to deal with it is to give these people what we owe them and what their God-given rights and their constitutional rights demand. All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
His actions to pursue these values and ideals helped end segregation and resolve the hatred and brutality towards colored citizens. His contribution to gain voting rights for blacks, advocating nonviolence for society, and creating a foundation for whites and blacks to be equal has led to what America is today.
In commemoration of National MLK Day, we start with some interviews from some of our teachers about their opinions on the National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, or the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming?
What is that which the breeze or the towering steep, as it fitly blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines in the stream.
'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh long may it wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And where is that band who so vauntedly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave
from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. When conquer we must, when our cause is just, and this be our motto, in God we trust. and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Do you know that there was more parts to the national anthem?
No, I had no idea.
I didn't know that off the top of my head. Not surprised, because there's a number of our patriotic songs that have stanzas that are not well known, but I didn't know this well, no.
I did know that there was more parts because when I was a child we had to learn them, but it's been a long time since I've read them and I didn't remember them being so warish.
I didn't know. The first time I heard that, it was during the when the NFL players were protesting and the conversations that were following up with that.
How do you feel about the fact that the Star-Spangled Banner has been chosen for our national anthem?
I personally am not a big fan of the Star-Spangled Banner. It just seems too militant to me.
Yeah, well, you know, I did a little research on it, and now that I realize that this third verse is racist against African Americans, I would prefer that they choose a different national anthem.
I think the story of the national anthem, as it's well known, of seeing the flag fly after a night of battle, I think that's a good story and a patriotic story.
Well, when you look at the lyrics, it's kind of weird because the land of the free and the home of the brave is always really exciting line at sporting events, but I don't think it speaks to most of us in this country and what we think about our country.
I hadn't thought about it before until the protests, especially reading the third stanza. I find it incredibly difficult to sing. It's not fun to sing, so it's not a fun anthem. I don't think it truly speaks to what our country is.
I could see that it'd be tough to accept the entirety of this. I can see that.
Do you feel like we should choose a more inclusive song to be our anthem?
I'd love a much more inclusive and a much more realistic song that talked about our land, our country, the people in it, what we've created, instead of focusing on the fact that our flag was still standing after a war.
And I'd much rather have, if there's a song that we all gotta listen to and sing before a football game or at the beginning of a school assembly, I'd rather have a song that we can all sing. And the Star-Spangled Banner is just really hard to sing.
I understand in the context of our now 2017 that the language is inappropriate in the national anthem. It's all about military too, and that's not our country.
Do you think Martin Luther King's dream has been achieved?
No.
No.
We're better with racism than we were back in Martin Luther King's day, but I think in a lot of ways we're worse off. We got a president who said that both sides were equally to blame for a woman who was murdered by white supremacists at a white supremacist rally. We never would have had that back in Martin Luther King's time.
Definitely great strides have been made, but his ultimate dream was that everyone would be treated with respect. And while things have definitely improved since he was here and he was doing his message, there's a lot of places where we don't understand and we struggle.
The wealth gap is wider now than it was 30 years ago. I mean, if you look back in 1983, median household wealth for white families was $102,000, and now it's gone up to $117,000. In 1983, the median household wealth for black families was only $6,800. Since then, it's gone down to $1,700. Median household wealth for Latino families was only $4,000 compared to $102,000 for in 1983. Since then, it's gone down by 50%. That's not good. It shouldn't be that way.
No, I don't think we realized it. I think there's things that we can point to say it's been improved, and I think there's things to point to say that it's still a lot of work to do.
What things do you think we can do now to further pursue his dream?
I think that people need to stand up again and fight back to try reach Martin Luther King's dream.
Anytime we don't understand each other, taking the time to communicate with each other and not being afraid of our unknowns and our fears and our emotions is the best thing.
It's loving people for who they are, you know. It's trusting that they're doing the best they can, and we can move forward with that. It's that ideal of that all people are free and equal. And it's a huge ideal, and we're not there yet, but we're working towards it.
And don't let anybody con you into thinking that one person can't make a difference. You can make a difference, and in fact, we're counting on you to make a difference. That's what Martin Luther King's dream about, and that's what our hope for the future is about.